I'm Becky.
I'm Rebecca.
And we are here to enthuse about all things music, things jazz, and things we're passionate about.
Buzz.
Yes. And yeah, buzz. And today we wanted to speak about an upcoming Swedish festival, which I know very little about, but Rebecca knows an awful lot about.
Yeah.
Is it Lucia?
Lucia.
Lucia.
Exactly.
Lucia.
The name actually comes from the Italian saint, Lucia, who actually cut her eyes out, very unfortunately. Lots of men gave her lots of attention that she didn't want. So she decided to cut her eyes out because she wanted to focus on her spiritual journey.
And her spiritual beauty rather than physical beauty.
Exactly.
Like and so many very intelligent women of history.
Exactly. Yeah. So this was around year 302, I think.
Okay, wow.
And she became a martyr and a saint. And the tradition is connected to her in a way because it's about bringing light and bringing sort of a spiritual inner peace into this season, which is very dark and very cold.
Yeah.
It goes way back, like to the Middle Ages. So it's like medieval traditions where around the night of the 13th of December was always considered like a magical night.
The music itself, is it a cappella? Is there an instrument?
It's a cappella, yeah.
And always there's wow.
A combination of Swedish folk music and sort of church, like choral.
Yeah, well, it sounds
music,
like because Lucia is an Italian saint, and there's obviously an amalgamation here of sort of Christian traditions and folklorish traditions.
When you know the background of this, and that there's so much darkness in that, and it's also reflected in the music. And the mystery of it, there's a lot of mystery, and you can feel that when you go to a concert. And for me, having experienced this my whole life, listening to this music, it's just like,
You're a wonderful composer. And how would you, if you were to kind of distill it into a sort of a more singular idea, like how do you feel these kinds of musical experiences have really affected the way that you write now and the music that you create now?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good question. And obviously it's in everything I write somehow.
Yeah.
And this sort of pure, like, consonant brightness, I think, is reflected not only in the way I write, but also in the way I sing, I think. It's not necessarily, like, really super crunchy harmony, and it's not necessarily very complicated writing, but it's simple and it's strong. And I think, for me, it's very interesting to combine that music with like a jazz tradition and something that is more crunchy and a bit more colourful, perhaps.
Has more dissonance.
Yeah, you go to a church or a concert hall or something to listen to a Lucia concert, but mostly it's just something that happens in your normal day-to-day life around the 13th of December, and it could be in a shopping mall, in your workplace, hospitals, schools. So you do it all ages, you do it from you're 3 years old until you're, as old as you can be to sing.
Yeah.
And
so it's really community focused.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. And very often it's kind of a bit of like a flash mob aspect to it. It just suddenly all the lights go off, and then you hear singing. And so people
wouldn't be told. So I'd be kind of working my normal office job.
Yeah. And it's a choir dressed up in these white. It looks like a nightie. You need to choose the colour of your underwear very wisely. You have candles, and one person who walks in the very beginning of this little procession is also wearing this metal crown with candles in it. It's a bit of a fire hazard.
Yeah, and Rebecca did show me this crown beforehand, and one of the things that I said is, what do you do if the wax drips onto your head? And you just said you deal with it.
Yeah. Doing this in a swimming pool was very, very interesting. Also kind of like a flash mob at a hotel. Really interesting. Doing it on the roof in a supermarket, also very, very fun, like balancing. But I think my favourite memory was doing it in a copper mine. The people in the audience came down, like the normal entrance, down this lift, and they were all wearing these like orange like hard hats and like
excellent.
Yeah. And then we came in like another way through a little very, very tiny little tunnel, and we were all walking like just appearing at the back of this big opening, and the audience were all stood up and like, where is it coming from? It makes you feel like you're this magical creature coming out of the darkness.
Gläns över sjö och strand, stjärna ur fjärran. Du som i Österland tänder